And welcome to Video Game Hangover. I'm Randy Dickinson, and I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Hey, I'm DJ Ross. I am in Mountain View, California.
Each week on Video Game Hangover, we talk about the games that have been keeping us up at night. This week, we're talking about Watch Dogs Legion, the Super Mario Bros. Game & Watch, and 13 Sentinels.
Oh.
Sentinels. That's a weird word.
Sentinels.
Sentinels.
Yeah, you got it.
Yep.
Super Mario Brothers. All right.
35 years later, finally reviewing Super Mario Brothers.
Okay.
Here on the show.
Can't wait to hear how it is.
Yeah. I mostly just want to talk about the cool little toy that it comes on. I'm not so much about the Mario Brothers.
Oh, okay. All right. Do an unboxing.
Yeah. Just an audio-only unboxing. Just me raffling a bunch of paper.
Oh, yeah. Unbox that Game & Watch.
Right.
Wait a minute. That doesn't sound like a Game & Watch to me. What do you got there?
I did a live unboxing of an amiibo on this show.
I remember that.
Yeah. I believe that was on a Drunktacular episode, was it not?
It was. Are we going to do another one this year? Do they still make amiibos?
We do, in fact, have one coming up soon. I think they still make amiibos. I've not bought one in a... Oh, no, I just bought one.
Yeah, okay. Love it.
I got Joker from Persona.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. A game that's not even on the Switch. I bought the amiibo of.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. But he's in Smash, so of course there's an amiibo.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was September, I think I bought that. So yeah, not too long ago, I bought an amiibo.
You see, man, I forgot that they never even put Persona on the Switch. I mean, there's that one, there's the Muso one, but it's only in Japan, so right? We're still
so far,
still thinking about it.
Yeah.
Might bring it over at some point.
So people better play that Hyrule Warriors game, and we may never see Persona Warriors.
Yeah. On some level, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. That's a fair comparison.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are going to record another Drunktacular episode. We're going to do it soon. Very soon, in fact.
Yeah. Get your amiibos ready.
Just tear into all those boxes for 2 hours.
Yeah.
So yeah, we want to encourage our listeners to save the date on Saturday, December 12th. We're going to do a live Twitch stream at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific. We need your help. Call and leave us a message or just text us at 682-999-VGH1 by the end of the day on December 11th. That's the day before, obviously. Ask us questions, give us your comments, give us something to talk about on the show. We will be, drinking adult beverages and hosting a live podcast.
Yeah. So all those burning questions you've had throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, because I'm not the one with the questions, but maybe there's been something you've been meaning to ask us, or just something you've always been curious about. Doesn't have to be about video games. We're also authorities on a wide variety of topics.
Yes.
Just send in that question, and we will solve your problems.
Yeah. The thing that we most get questions about is life on deserted islands. So DJ and I are authorities on that at this point. So if you have, hypothetical questions about what life would be like on a deserted island under a specific set of weird circumstances you thought of, then ask us a question about that, and we will give it far more thought than it probably requires.
I like that we've gone from just like getting one of those every year to the point where we ask people to stop sending those in to just explicitly asking, please send us marooned on a desert island questions.
We've come full circle on the desert island question.
Although I don't think we got one last year, so maybe we're due.
No, I know. Yeah.
We'll make it like a biannual thing.
Many of us, in a lot of ways, are kind of living on a desert island right now.
True.
So,
yeah.
I
wish I was on a desert island right now.
Right, seriously. I wouldn't have to wear this mask everywhere. But yeah, Yeah, so get your questions into us. It can be anything, video game related or otherwise. Just give us something to talk about. And then make sure you tune in to twitch.tv/VGHangover on Saturday, December 12th to watch us take your calls and answer your questions and maybe get drunk on the internet.
Yeah, within Twitch community guidelines, of course.
Oh, yeah, we should probably look into that, huh?
I actually did, just because I was like, I forget what I was streaming a couple weeks ago, but I was like, it's the weekend, we'll have a little drink. I was like, wait a minute, can I do this? And I think it's fine as long as you're not like drinking yourself into a stupor.
Sure.
Which could happen.
It has happened.
Well, not live.
No, just not on Twitch, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, could be interesting this year.
Yeah.
Don't miss it.
So if you're looking for ways to get in touch with us, go to VGHangover.com. There's a myriad of ways that you can communicate with us, calls and text messages and tweets, and certainly you can hop into the Discord and drop your questions in there. All of that stuff and more at VGHangover.com.
Yeah. Start thinking about it at the very least. You've got some time.
Yeah. Inevitably, all of your questions will come in the day before we record.
Right.
And we will be in a panic.
Well, I don't know what to say about that. That's more likely than not to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. That's generally how I go about things in my life. So if it was somebody's podcast asking me for questions, I would save it to the last day. So
yeah.
I hope that didn't sound negative. I adore you all.
Yeah. We're sure you're busy people with lots of things you have to do. So
yeah,
whenever you get around to it, just don't forget.
VGH loves you. Video games. What have you been playing, DJ? What's going on? What's new in your life in video games?
What's going on? I've been playing a lot of Judgment, the game by the Yakuza studio, because I'm really excited to start playing Yakuza 7.
And if I've learned anything about the way that you consume video games, is you have to finish them in order.
That's something I like to do. It's weird because this Judgment is kind of like a side story. Like, it's not a real technically a Yakuza game. Mm-hmm. It's like a different cast of characters. Plus, also this new Yakuza game is kind of a fresh start for the series. It's a brand new protagonist and everything. So there's no reason that I'm required to finish this one. But I'm like,
but finishing things is nice. Yeah,
it's nice. And also it's weird to me where I'm like, man, I can't wait for this new game from the Yakuza guys. If only there was a Yakuza game that I could be playing right now. Oh, what about this one that I still have 40 hours left to get through? So, spending a lot of time in that, just trying to get back into it. Although I think at this point, because I'm worried about just burning myself out on a Yakuza type game, I'm gonna I kind of got to a point in the game where it's a good cliffhanger moment. I feel like I can put it down for a little while, because every time you start a new chapter in that game, also it gives you the previously on Judgment, and it gives you a little a 30-second recap, which is cool.
Yeah, I like that in video games.
Yeah, so I think maybe I'll just step away a little bit and go check out this new thing, because everybody's super excited about that. Yeah,
that the new Yakuza is kind of the new hotness.
Yeah,
people really like it.
I mean, the series has really picked up a fan base over the last few years. I'm very proud of those guys.
Cool.
But I've been playing a lot of that. Probably talk about Yakuza next week once I get into it. Aside from that, I've been playing a ton of 13 Sentinels, which I talked about several weeks ago. And I actually finished it. And
cool.
It's probably one of my... but it's definitely in the running for a game of the year this year. I really loved it. It was really super good.
So what does finished mean in this context? Because if I remember anything about what you described in the game initially, is that you're following kind of 13 storylines. Yeah,
so it's... if you didn't hear me talk about it before, it's essentially like a visual novel, which, as you said, it has 13 protagonists. And then in between the visual novel segments, there are kind of almost XCOM style tactical mech battles, naturally. So it's this weird mix of genres. It's mostly visual novel. Primarily when I sat down to play it, I was looking forward to getting into the story. Not that the battle sequences are like bad or unappealing or anything, but it was really just like the story was incredibly intriguing, and there was like this huge mystery surrounding all the characters, and I just really wanted to figure out what's going on. So when I say I finished it, I just mean like I got through the end of the story and I saw everybody's, or I saw the conclusion to everybody's storylines. And I kind of understand what happened because it was a very convoluted plot. But really, like, completely enjoyed it from start to finish. It was, man, one of the most unusual and kind of compelling stories that I run into in a video game in some time.
Despite being convoluted.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, so despite all the confusion, there's so much going on in the story. They did just a really amazing job of, like, first of all, just presenting it. But they also gave you all these tools to just kind of keep up to speed on things. Like, of course, you have the whole, this codex of keywords and a timeline of events that happen in the game, so you can go back and look through that to refresh your memory at any point. But there, like, at any time during the story segments, or even some of the battles, because there will be plot dropped in the middle of those occasionally, you can hit the, the touchpad on the PS4 controller, and it'll just bring up, like, a log of everything everybody said in that chapter, and you can just, like, scroll through it in case you miss something. So I was like, oh, that's very good. And in fact, I found myself, like, going through Judgment, like watching a cutscene in that and wishing that had the same feature, because sometimes I'll be like, wait a minute, what did that guy just say like 30 seconds ago? I don't know.
Yeah. I think RPGs do that, have a tool like that. 3DS, I remember seeing that quite a bit in JRPGs, where you could go back through basically the entire script of the game and try to, what did that guy say? What am I supposed to be looking for?
Yeah.
What's my objective here? You can roll back through the dialogue that's been spoken.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not in every game, unfortunately. And I think it, but yeah, it has a lot of use in games where it's necessary.
Yeah. I mean, I think they were aware of what sort of story they were trying to tell and realized, like,
right.
Oh, this might be helpful to people.
And how dense it is.
Yeah. So that's very good. They did a very good job of keeping people just from getting too confused. But even with that, there is so much going on in this game. It starts out as a very simple kind of simple mystery where the 13 protagonists are all essentially like high school students in Japan. And a few of them start out by having these like mysterious dreams that they're not sure what to make of. And they have these visions of giant robot battles happening. Because sure enough, soon after the game begins, you see all these scenes of giant alien kaiju attacking Tokyo and these robot sentinels rising up to fight them back. And like the high school students are piloting the robots, of course. But in between all that, you have to kind of try and figure out like where the robots come from, where the aliens come from, how did all the kids get into these robots, all sorts of mysterious stuff. There's a little bit of like kind of time looping and time travel going on. I don't want to give too much away of the plot because it's, like I said, it's very good, but it feels like if Hideo Kojima had written a game, like if he had written Death Stranding, but it like all made sense. Like it came together really well.
Okay, well, good. I was trying to sort of parse that. I'm like, but cool. So, yeah, I'm so ambitious, but it kind of sticks the landing.
Yeah, and I think like Death Stranding, I think if you went back and looked over the entire thing, sure, it all makes sense on some level. But there were so many points in that game where he would like introduce a new plot element or just leave some mystery hanging over the player's head for so long, where you just be like, I wish, the characters would stop using these terms without explaining what they mean, because like that game ended up just having like a 3-hour plot dump at the end. And I was like, this is not a satisfying way to conclude a story.
Yeah. And that's kind of Kojima though, right? That's
it's a little bit his thing, but I find it very irritating. But in 13 Sentinels, the way that the plot is kind of gradually revealed to you is done in such a way where even though there are a lot of story beats that are just kind of very like surprising, I just was able to go along with it with pretty much every single one.
Cool.
At certain points, I just thought like, wow, this story, it's got the robots, it's got the aliens, it's got time travel, it's got like just every single sci-fi storyline is happening in this game at the same time.
Right? Yeah. Cool. And what is it? Can I ask, what is the pedigree of the developer? Have they made something quite like this before?
Yeah, well, not quite like this. This is developed by Vanillaware and George Kamatani, who was the... Vanillaware put out, they do a lot of 2D games. Like, they did Dragon's Crown and Muramasa, and what is the other one that people talk about? I can't remember right this second, but they have, this very lush kind of painted 2D artwork. As far as I know, they haven't made something... I don't know if they've done a visual novel like this before, but it's interesting because previously, George Kamatani would do the all the artwork and character designs. I think he actually wrote 13 Sentinels and kind of deferred the artwork to the rest of his team. So it's pretty impressive. I don't know if he had the story kind of brewing for a long time and just had to get it out there, but I think he did a pretty amazing job with it.
Is he Odin Sphere or Grim Grimoire?
Odin Sphere, yeah, that's the one.
There you go.
I haven't been super into these games in the past just because, I don't know, they haven't really been my thing. But man, this was so good. Like I said, it has a lot of characters. And what really amazed me about it is that the way you are introduced to them, you play through the prologue segments kind of in a linear order where you're just getting one character after another. But very quickly, it dumps you off at this character roster screen where it shows you all 13 characters, or at least the number of characters you've unlocked up to that point. And you can just pick one and decide, okay, I want to watch the next chapter in so-and-so story. And it will just be taking place at some point in the 13 Sentinels timeline. But the fact that you can switch between characters between their chapters and basically play it out in whatever order you feel like is incredible to me, because it's still, the story still unfolds in a way that is pretty easy to follow, or as easy to follow as it is for a 13 character time travel game.
Right.
But it's amazing to think that, I play through this game in a certain order. Somebody else, very low chances that they would play through it in the same order that I did. But for the most part, it all made sense.
Hopefully you all got a similar experience where you understood what was going on.
Yeah, and it kind of gates you at certain points where you can play maybe 50% of this one character's story. And after that point, it says, oh, okay, in order to proceed with the next chapter, you need to progress this other character up to a certain point, or you need to do this particular battle, because also, like I said, some of the story is revealed during the battle sequences. So it feels like at certain points they stop you just to make sure you get everybody gets up to the same point on certain characters, they know enough of certain parts of the story.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, but man, it's such just a web of things happening. It's amazing they were able to pull it off.
Cool. Well, that's exciting. It's kind of a stealth thing. It's not a game I heard a ton about until you started talking about it.
Yeah, it kind of snuck up on me. I think it came out a year ago in Japan, and then it just recently released in August or September. And I've been kind of chipping away at it since then. But just after a few hours into it, it just really got its hooks to me, and I was into it.
Nice.
Yeah, man. I don't want to. I don't want to spoil anything. It goes some real wild places. But again, every single time they would drop this new revelation on me, I'd just be kind of nodding my head, thinking, okay, that sounds a little bit absurd, but I'm just going to go along with it and see if they have this all, calculated out. And by the end of it, everything, it wrapped up in a very satisfying way. It didn't feel like they dropped any Deus Ex Machinas in there or anything, which is very nice, because it's so complicated. And at certain times I was just thinking there's a very high chance that this could fall apart. But I felt like they nailed it at the end.
Good. I mean, it's always the fear, I think, sometimes going into ambitious games like this. I certainly felt it when I started playing Death Stranding. It was sort of there's no way they're going to be able to tie all this shit together in some way that's satisfying. Mm-hmm. And I've had that experience quite a bit with video games in the past, where there's a lot of stuff thrown at the wall, and you don't really get a satisfactory kind of... And I don't need, every T crossed and every I dotted, but give me some sense of closure. And not every video game developer is capable of threading that needle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So really good. Very sad that it's over because I grew quite fond of a lot of the cast. You spent a lot of time with them. Anyway, I'm very excited to see if they do something similar as their next project, if they're just going to go back to do like a Dragon's Crown style, like side-scrolling brawler or something.
Yeah, I think Dragon's Crown is the only one on here that I've played before. Are they generally more games like Dragon's Crown, which is it's like kind of a side-scroller adventure game, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of like, I don't know, like Streets of Rage or Final Fight. I think the others, I mean, they've jumped genres quite a bit. I think like Odin Sphere was, I want to say it was like an RTS, and I think maybe Muramasa was another action game like Dragon's Crown, but
okay,
kind of got quite a variety there. So
yeah, they mix it up.
Who knows? Maybe the next one will be like a first-person shooter or something.
26 Sentinels, the first-person shooter.
Probably not, actually, because they do tend to stick more to like 2D projects. So I don't know. Maybe they'll make a new Contra or something. But I don't know. Should be cool to see.
Excellent. Good find. So I have you seen this little Super Mario Brothers Game & Watch? Have you seen this cool little toy?
I haven't seen. I mean, I've seen pictures of it online. I haven't seen one in person.
Not in the flesh.
I've seen a Game & Watch. I used to have, I forget which one I had. It didn't play Super Mario Brothers, though.
I've never had a Game & Watch before. I somehow missed that whole thing. Like, I remember LCD games.
Mm-hmm.
Who used to make the little Tamo?
Little Tiger
LCD Tiger, games. I guess, yeah. Yeah, and they were very sort of rudimentary. They were like, put the ball in the cup, or little things like that, or basketball, or there's real one objective to do that can be sort of translated with a number of sort of LCD lights blinking at a time.
You can really only move your character to like 3 places on the screen at any time.
Right. I don't know that I ever had my hands on a Nintendo one, and this is kind of where Nintendo started with video games, right? This was their first kind of handheld toy, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they stopped making them in the early 90s, I was surprised to read. That despite the success of the NES and Famicom and everything else that had sort of come before, they continued to make Game & Watch devices, these little handheld, kind of slightly larger than a credit card, certainly much thicker than a credit card kind of toys that were LCD light games, essentially.
Yeah.
And what they've done for the 30th anniversary, Nintendo being they in this scenario, for the 35th anniversary of Mario, is to put all of Super Mario Brothers and Super Mario Brothers 2 on a Game & Watch with a surprisingly beautiful color screen. And it works wonderfully.
Oh.
It is just the most delightful little toy. It's weird that it sort of came out the same week as the Xbox Series X and as the PlayStation 5. And this was the one that I was sort of like, oh, that's the console I have to have.
Yeah.
Got
all the good exclusives on it.
Right, exactly. You got to get those Nintendo first-party games.
Yeah, exactly.
But seriously, this was the one that I sort of set my alarm for on release day to make sure I got up and found one of.
I read somebody saying that was like, after the Xbox launch, the PS5 launch, there was one other thing in there, I can't remember, but it was like, okay, like Saturday or whenever it was, it's time for the Mario Game & Watch. It's the final boss of this retail pre-order Nightmare Week.
Yeah, I mean, I skipped right to the final boss. I didn't play those other
ones. No, good for you.
Yeah, I strolled into the game ready to take on that final boss. And it wasn't too hard to get. They have become hard to get. That sort of availability didn't last long, unfortunately. And Nintendo says they're going to continue making them into next year. So there should be injections of these coming out over the next year or so.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, and it's $50. It's a little, again, slightly larger than credit card size. It's got 2 buttons on the right-hand side and a little D-pad on the left-hand side. And again, a surprisingly beautiful color screen to play Super Mario Brothers and Super Mario Brothers 2 in their entirety on.
That's the Japanese Super Mario Brothers 2, just to be clear.
Yes, yeah. Which I think was also released as Lost Levels, right?
Yeah.
And it has a Game & Watch game on it called Ball. And it's it's a weird version of Mario where it's sort of Mario's head on like a stick body and he juggles. And you have to like move Mario left and right to catch two balls simultaneously moving back and forth faster and faster and faster over time. There's a little secret in there too where you can actually turn Mario into Luigi and just play with him, which is kind of fun.
Oh man. But it doesn't do like because it's not an LCD screen, right?
It's not. No, it's like a digital screen.
Okay, so it's like kind of a fake or like a recreation of that Game & Watch game.
Correct. Yeah,
Interesting.
It's that aesthetic. Yeah, just animated on a modern screen.
Yeah, that's so weird. That like, I mean, I understand why they didn't want to put one of these out that's like just Game & Watch games because that's a little. I don't know how long it would hold people's attention.
Right, and certainly not for $50.
Yeah, but it's too bad that they just like. Yeah, it's kind of they can't give you the true LCD experience.
Right.
I mean, that's like, kind of a minor point, but I'm just observing.
I get that we're celebrating Mario, but like, why not put out one of these little handheld things that has every Game & Watch game on it?
Why haven't they done that?
That would
yet?
be cool.
I mean, I don't know if you could have like just the way because of how LCD technology works. I don't know if you could actually do that with a proper LCD. I don't know.
Right. Well, that's my thought is that couldn't be a LCD screen. It would have to be
unless it was just like the biggest
this.
Game & Watch ever. It had like 10 different screens on it. It'd be amazing.
It just continues to unfold. Yeah. But it's a lot of fun. It's cool. And I've not played Super Mario Brothers in a very long time. I had an NES when we were a kid. When we were kids, my brother and I were kids, and I played Mario 1 and 3 on that.
Mm-hmm.
I've never played Mario 2.
Oh man, missing out.
It's tough, right? People say it's hard.
Oh wait, so are we talking about the Japanese Mario 2 then?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, yeah. Well, then maybe you're not missing out. I was going to say I really loved the American Mario 2.
Okay. But yeah, that's not on here, unfortunately. So yeah, I've been playing with it. I charged it up. It charges with a USB-C, which all of my Nintendo Switch stuff and my phone happen to charge off of now. So I've got plenty of those around the house. And man, it runs for 9 hours before the battery dies, which is awesome. Which is better than the Switch even does. I was going to
say the longest running Nintendo handheld that they put out in a while.
Yeah, so far. And yeah, so I've been playing Super Mario Brothers between things happening in life, during commercials on a TV show, or while I'm waiting to load into a game of Fall Guys or something like that. I'll pick up my little Game & Watch off the coffee table and play through a few more minutes of Super Mario Brothers. And the thing that has been sort of surprising to me in going back to Super Mario Brothers after all this time is just how short those levels are. Like, there is not a lot of distance between where you start and where you end in any Mario level. It is really just a very brief walk with a lot of things in the way.
Yeah.
And some of them can be quite challenging, but I guess it's coming from, playing Super Mario Odyssey last year and how sort of huge and ambitious and vast that was, to playing Super Mario Brothers and sort of seeing the humble origin of this thing. It's just sort of like, oh, there's not much there.
Yeah.
It's a very short game.
Not a whole lot happening.
Yeah.
It was so weird. I think I played through this like a few years ago during Extra Life. I was like, I'll play the original Mario Brothers, see how this is. And I had the same reaction. I was like, oh, this is a very brisk game if you really just sit down and play through all of it.
Yeah. But it's funny where sort of like all the memory points kind of kick in. Like I remember 30-something years later exactly which pipes I can go down, where I can break through the bricks on the ceiling and run across the top of the level, where the extra chamber is that brings you to the warp world. Like all of those things are like in my brain. Like I've not accessed that information in 30 years, but it's still in there.
Just in case you ever need it.
Right. I can't balance my checkbook, but I can. I know where all the secret warp worlds are in Super Mario Brothers.
I knew a guy who would just like, I forget which level it was, but he would just run along like this completely nondescript row of bricks and just like jump once and hit the one up that was hidden. I'm just like, how? Like, what else are you like not able to fit in your brain because you have this one piece of information? That's really amazing.
That's impressive. Yeah. Yeah. And it's been cool to sort of, because it has multiplayer on it, so you don't play
What?
simultaneously. You hand it back and forth. So you select 2 players at the beginning, and I play until I die, and then I hand it over to Sarah. And Sarah's been playing it while we sit on the couch and watch TV and mill around the house, back and forth. And it's been fun. It's been a delight. We charged it once, and it still continues to go, which is crazy for a Nintendo device. But yeah, it's a very cool little toy, and I'm excited that I got my hands on one, and it's been fun to sort of revisit Super Mario Brothers.
Nice. I did not expect you to get along well with Super Mario Brothers, but I'm glad to hear you're keeping with it.
It certainly has its frustration points, and it's impressive that it sort of it sets the gold standard for what movement should be like in these platformers, but he's still a little slippy. I still sort of jump up on things sometimes and sort of run off the edge of it. Mario doesn't quite sort of stop on a dime like I'm kind of accustomed to, I think, in some platformers. But it is, again, it's very sort of impressive how in 1980, whatever, that, this thing kind of came into the world fully formed and had a sense of what those physics should feel like and what this type of gameplay should be like. It's still pretty impressive that those mechanics, that sort of type of movement, and that feel are still present in games that ape that movement today.
Yeah. Actually, I went back and played a little bit of this on the Switch Online thing, because it's been a while. Probably haven't played it since that year during Extra Life. And yeah, it's really remarkable just how well it's aged. Certainly there are certain aspects of it that are not super modern feeling. But for the most part, I'm this is still pretty fun. Played through quite a bit of it when I was just expecting to play a couple levels and be well, that's enough.
Yeah.
Like you said, every level is very short. So I'm just I'll just do 4 more. Why not?
You can power through a whole bunch of them. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We, we're having a good time with it. The back of the box says that there are 35 hidden secrets in the game.
Wait a minute, they've added because it's the 35th anniversary?
Right. Yeah, and they're not specifically in the Mario Brothers games, but there's a watch function too, obviously, where you can just put it on your desk, and it has a digital clock that runs Mario worlds in the background, and the background changes throughout the different time of the day. But there are different button presses and stuff that you can do that unlock different things in it. And a lot of folks on the internet have been trying to suss out what all 35 of them are. But the most important one that anyone found, and fortunately was found early, is how to get unlimited lives.
Oh, no. Okay.
Because if I was just trying to get by with the shabby 3 lives that you start the game with, I would not have gotten far in Super Mario Brothers. But fortunately, quite a few sites figured out early how to access infinite lives.
Nice.
And we've just been going and going and going. So it has helped me enjoy Super Mario Brothers quite a bit.
That's fine. You're an adult. You can have as many lives as you want.
I agree.
Does this have any sort of I've been playing it on the Switch, like I mentioned, and the emulator on there has these great save state features. There's a rewind feature, which I didn't even know it had until I started playing this, which was wow, abuse the heck out of this. Is there anything like that going on this Game & Watch, or is it just straight up?
Nothing like that specifically. There's nothing that you can rewind or anything like that, which sounds very cool. I need to check out that NES stuff on the Switch, apparently. But there is one thing that I read about, which again doesn't necessarily appeal to me, but there's apparently once you finish Super Mario Brothers, it unlocks a harder difficulty of it. And it did that on the original of Super Mario 1, yeah. It did that on the NES as well, but as soon as you turned off your NES, you would lose that. You wouldn't lose it. You would lose access to it because it couldn't save that state for you. But the Game & Watch saves it. So when you go back to it after beating Super Mario Bros. 1, the hard mode continues to be available to you. I don't know that I would ever consume Super Mario Brothers that way. It seems hard enough the way it is. But, if you're looking for that challenge, or if it bested you 30 years ago and you want to get back to it again, then that's kind of cool.
I don't know if I ever played that one.
Yeah.
I certainly didn't beat Super Mario Brothers back when I was a kid. And I think I actually did do it during Extra Life. But at that point, I probably just turned it off. So I don't know if I ever played that hard version.
Oh, well, there you go.
Interesting. You said you didn't play Super Mario 2?
I've not dipped into 2 yet, no.
Oh.
And I didn't play Because there's 2 versions of 2, right? Can you explain my confusion on this?
Well, so yeah, there was this one, I forget what the chronology is, but the Super Mario Brothers 2 that came out in the US, and for the longest time, I think most people just thought, oh, this is the second Mario Brothers game, was not actually a Mario Brothers game to begin with. It was some other game that they just turned into a Mario game for the US. And that one has like all the different selectable characters. You can play as Luigi, Toad, and the Princess, and that's the one where you like pluck vegetables out of the ground and throw them at enemies. It's a very different style of game, but for the longest time, it was like my favorite Mario game. And then there was the actual one that the actual game that came out as Super Mario Bros. 2 in Japan, which ended up coming over to the US, or outside of Japan, rather, as Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. And I don't really know what the background behind this one is. Like, it doesn't feel like, if they were going to... I feel like if Shigeru Miyamoto was going to set out and make a sequel to Super Mario Bros., I don't think this... Like, I don't imagine, like, this is the game that he would have come up with, because it feels like... I went back and played this also on the Switch Online, because it's on there. And it feels like it is just designed to punish you at every opportunity. Like we said, the original Mario Brothers, not the easiest game, but it's like still fun to play, and it certainly gets challenging. But in the Lost Levels, I was playing a little bit this weekend. I went into it with an open mind because it's been a long time since I attempted it. But it just seems like the level design is set up so you just can't play Mario how you want to play Mario. Like, there are a bunch of weird like gaps in the ground that make you like... it just makes jumping really awkward. There are a lot of just like single block platforms, which are terrifying. Surrounded by bottomless pits. My favorite thing that I realized was happening is like, when you get good at a Mario level, you can just kind of hold down the B button and run through everything. And just like, if you're really on fire, you just don't even stop. You're like parkouring through the entire thing.
Yes.
But so in the Lost Levels, there are so many instances there will be like a downward like staircase of blocks. Like, at the end of the level, there's like, kind of a triangle formation of blocks going up, and you just jump up like a staircase or something.
Yeah, and grab the flagpole.
Yeah. So in Lost Levels, it like, imagine that, but it's going in the other direction. So it's just super difficult to make a jump coming off of it, because like you said, Mario's very slippery in it. And I feel like it takes him a little bit of time to get up to speed. So if you're just like not blasting through this at full speed, there's just not a lot of runway for you to get Mario to gather enough speed so you can make these jumps. And those are just all over the place. There were some jumps where they just seemed impossible until I realized there were these invisible blocks that you had to reveal. And I was like, okay, guys, I didn't realize that I was playing like the predecessor to, I don't know if you've seen those Kaizo Mario videos, which like those are absolutely designed to just torment the player. Like these people that make these impossible Mario Maker levels.
Oh, yeah. Yes. That's exactly what I was thinking of as you were describing this, because it sounds like there was that, I think the sort of quasi-famous one that came from Mario Maker 2 was just basically Mario trying to make his way through a world full of the spinning fire wands.
Oh, yeah. And so those are like, what you're getting into. You're just like, please give me this impossibly difficult Mario level, and it's going to be just like comically hard to beat. And so in the Lost Levels, it doesn't feel like that's explicitly what's going on, but it feels like it's a little bit of just like, okay, let's make it just unfun for people to get through this game. I don't know what the deal was.
Yeah. Not looking forward to that. So,
I was really not enjoying it. I turned it off after 2 worlds because I was just like, I'm not having fun anymore.
Yeah. Imagine being sort of a naive 80s kid and wandering into that thinking, oh, it's going to be another lighthearted Mario romp.
Yeah. When in fact, it's quite insidious. You can play as Luigi in it, though, which is interesting because he controls differently than Mario does. Like, he has a higher jump.
Oh, really?
But also, he just has like way worse traction on the ground. So I think he's actually like the worst character to play as. Because sometimes you will be, it's much harder to stop on a single width block. Or sometimes I would like try and turn around, and he would like start skidding off to the right, and I would overcorrect, and then he would just skid way too far off to the left and fall in the hole. I'm like, this is not this is not a fun game. Why am I playing this? So it was a weird experience.
It sounds painful.
Yeah. It was a nice just reminder of what's going on in that game.
So that is in the Game & Watch. Probably will not get touched much. But it's just kind of a cool toy. It's kind of a fun little conversation piece thing to have.
Yeah, certainly a weird oddity for them to put out this year.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot of us maybe were expecting, because they've had, 2 years running now of they did kind of the NES Uber console, the SNES Uber console, like which one is the next one they're going to make. That's sort of a little mini console of and pack full of games. I don't know if anyone had Game & Watch on there.
No.
their prediction list for this year. I think maybe we were all secretly hoping for a GameCube, but it's kind of a cool, weird little fun thing if you can get your hands on one.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad they're going to keep making them. It's not going to turn into that. Those classic consoles were super scarce for a while.
Yeah. It is limited. They said that beyond sort of 2021 that it won't be available anymore, but they will continue to supply them to retailers, is what it said on their little website. So, maybe once the dust settles on the holiday season, those who want one can get their hands on one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Or you can just check them out on the Switch Online, which I've realized is extremely good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that might be the easier way to sort of get access to it.
Yeah.
Cool. And then the other game that I've been playing this week, and it's a surprise to me as much as it is maybe to you, is Watch Dogs Legion.
Yeah, a little surprised.
Yeah, I don't know. The first Watch Dogs was not a great game, and then the second one came out, and I wasn't interested because the first one kind of turned me off, and then I kept reading kind of interesting things about it, and played it and enjoyed it. Enjoyed it so much that I played the rest of the DLC and stuff, which I almost never do with open world games.
No.
And then the Watch Dogs 3, they were sort of teasing it, and it sort of seemed like they were going back to kind of like this grimdark, horrible technocratic future. And I was like, I don't need any more of that in my life right now. I think I'm cool with that, and I'm going to let Legion kind of go. And then it started getting good reviews, and I kept reading kind of interesting stories about what you could do in it and what the structure of it was and how it's a little bit different from the previous Watch Dogs games in that essentially you're trying to sort of build a coalition of hackers, of counterculture warriors who are trying to sort of take back the city of London from this corporate lockdown that has sort of happened. There has been a terrorist attack. And what a fun way to start a game. And your hacker group DedSec has been kind of implicated as the cause of that thing, and much of your team has kind of been wiped out. So you are kind of a lone warrior now, and you're trying to recruit other people to your cause. So you essentially sort of drive around the city of London with your magical cell phone that controls everything in your environment, and do errands for people until they join your hacker clan, which is how it goes in real life, I'm sure.
Yeah, right.
And seriously, anybody you can see, anybody you spot in the world is recruitable. They all have different sort of criteria and conditions for joining your group, and some people are very opposed to DedSec and will not join for any reason you could possibly think of. And some people are, blatantly hostile, or some people are dying to join your group. So you get sort of different friction points with the people you try to recruit. But you're trying to sort of build kind of a well-rounded group of people who have different kind of skill sets. And the way that you do sort of assess the abilities and stuff that somebody would bring to your group is kind of pointing your cell phone at them and hitting the left trigger, and it brings up their little kind of profile, and it gives you some information on kind of their search history and what they do for a living and what their skills are and stuff like that. Essentially a little CV on what they've done and what they could bring to your group, and it gives you kind of a sense sometimes of what their conditions and their criteria would be for, the hoops you would have to jump through to get them to join your hacker group.
So you're actually kind of collecting these characters? Because when I first heard they were doing this protagonist switching thing, it felt like kind of a way to decentralize it from just having a written main character and just being like, just play as anybody. Like you see somebody on the street, just switch over to them. And it felt kind of disposable.
It's not so fast. It's not so on the fly as that.
Okay.
It doesn't have a central main character, and I think the game suffers a bit for that. The main character in Watch Dogs 2 was a cool dude. He was kind of compelling. He was kind of interesting. He was funny. That goes a long way.
Well, I mean, he definitely had a unique personality.
Yeah, I liked him. And Watch Dogs 3 Legion doesn't have that. The game gives you kind of a randomized list of like 15 people you can pick from at the beginning, and you get to pick who your sort of lone survivor is based on their little CV, their little like fly out search history and skills. And that is the sort of the one person left who then has to go out into the world and start recruiting more people to join DedSec. So it doesn't give you kind of a scripted protagonist, it doesn't give you a main character to kind of hang the story on. It feels less interesting that way. I still have a bit of an affinity for my kind of player one, and I go back to him every now and then, even though everybody else that he's recruited is so much more skilled than he is at this point, that he's slightly less fun to play with. But yeah, I think it makes the game feel a little more sort of random. And it does make the game feel a little bit more like I'm just going through kind of fetch quests for all of these people to join my group. Uh-huh. There is sort of a main story crux that you're trying to move through to take down the big bad corporation that has basically taken over London. But man, most of the time that I've spent with this in the early hours of the game is just running errands for people going, please join my group. Please come join my club. You have on-demand access to any drone you can possibly see in the world. I want you to be on my group. Yeah, okay, here are 15 errands I need you to run for me before I say yes.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
And it's real. Yeah, it's not fun. It really is. Occasionally it's fun. That's not true. The hacking is fun. Flying the little drones around is fun. The magic cell phone that allows you to control kind of anything electronic in the environment is kind of fun.
But I thought that was like my favorite thing in Watch Dogs 2, because you could like point at other cars on the highway and just have them swerve 90 degrees out of your way. And it's like, oh my God, every game should have this, or like every open world game should have this from now on. Why isn't this a thing? Just
clearing traffic ahead of you.
Yeah.
Yes, that continues to be fun in this. The spider bot is fun, and it was a lot of fun in Watch Dogs 2. It's this little pocket-sized little droid that you can pull out, and he crawls through air ducts and gets over fences and gets into little tight places that you can't get, and can hack things remotely for you. So he plugs this little spider bot head into the console, and you then have access to the console, and you can turn off security cameras and open the gate and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So a lot of this game is me sort of hanging out outside of a complex and sending a little spider bot in through the air conditioning ducts and having him do all the work. And that's fun too. It's cool. It's kind of a stealth thing. It's kind of a goofy hacker mini game thing. Yeah, I think the game Watch Dogs is at its best when it is kind of like light and goofy. If you think about sort of the 90s movie Hackers, how like, dumb that was, but kind of fun because it was done in such a way that was, kind of flashy and goofy and silly and fun. It's when Watch Dogs sort of gets mired in kind of the darkness that I don't really want to hang out in this world anymore.
Oh man, my whole take on Watch Dogs 2, which I mainly played because it took place in the Bay Area, so I just wanted to see like, okay, what does this look like in a video game?
Yeah.
But the whole story and like the hacker angle felt like the movie Hackers, but somebody watched that movie and just unironically went like, this is the best movie that I've ever seen in my life. I just want to write something that is these people saying the same type of dialogue as everybody in this movie, like completely deadpan and thinking it's just the wildest thing. And it's just like, oh my God. If it weren't for the Bay Area setting, I don't know if it would have been possible for me to stick with that game. But somehow I did it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Absolutely.
I didn't play the first one, but it sounds like what you're saying. It felt very like grim dark, Xbox 360. Let's go shoot some people and steal cars.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of Legion and Watch Dogs 2 were fun in that they give you a lot of agency with sort of how you choose to determine your path through these things. So you can load up on guns, and there are people you can recruit in the world that, it'll say somebody has a guest pass for the shooting range, and that, inevitably that means that person has access to a gun. And it's London, so guns are rare. There's a lot of other kind of, stun batons and stuff like that you have access to. But again, the people that have access to those are harder to get to join your crew. So you have to jump through more hoops to get them to sign up.
Do all the enemies still have guns?
The enemies, the enemies have guns. Okay. Yeah, and there's a Clan Kelly is an Irish, I don't know what they are, kind of mobster kind of presence in the city, and they have access to weapons and guns too. So you if you want to sort of meet them on that level, you have to start recruiting people with weapons, and essentially you then turn into, the hacker who puts down the laptop and picks up the machine gun, and it just turns it into a shooter, which is not fun or interesting to me at all. So I generally approach these things as, like I said, kind of hanging out outside of the complex and trying to hack my way in, turning off cameras and rerouting parole routes for patrol routes. Sorry, for the guards and stuff like that.
You like hack somebody's parole.
Patrol. Yeah, and really just trying to sort of be as kind of antisocial about the way that I approach solving these missions as possible. And for me, that's much more fun. I would much rather fly around over over the mall with my little mini hacking drone, and try to stay out of the line of sight of the guards and, be kind of insidious that way.
Yeah.
Then, pick up a machine gun and fire my way through the front door.
I did really enjoy all the hacking, like the fact that you could kind of take that stealth approach in Watch Dogs 2, and the fact that you had all the hacking tools made that much more achievable. Although in a lot of cases, it really just came down to, putting down the laptop and picking up the machine gun. Be like, this is how we got to do it.
Yeah. And sometimes things go sideways, and, I'm faced with the possibility of restarting this whole mission over, or I can go in and start clocking skulls, and then, maybe I'll go in and bust some heads. But for the most part, I try to sort of take a technological approach to this thing. I mean, I figure they're hackers. This must be their kind of like wheelhouse.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense that everybody know, or like, especially not in Watch Dogs 2, that this guy knew how to like bust out a machine gun and just be Rambo if he needed to.
Yeah. It was completely not within character for that guy in Watch Dogs 2 at all. There was no explanation for why he was, so comfortable and so agile when it came to firing a mini pistol into a room full of guards.
Other than the fact that he was just in a Ubisoft game.
Right, exactly.
I didn't understand why he had some kind of weird weapon, like a melee weapon in that, which I don't even know what it was, though. It was some kind of like yo-yo almost. But he would just go out to people and like do some do like a yo-yo trick on them, and they would get knocked out.
It was something like a tether attached to his wrist. I don't know what the heck it was. I'm not sure if the game even explained it.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it was standard issue hacker weapon, I assume.
Sure. I assume that came from a pitch meeting where people, the developers were like, well, people like the wrist gauntlet from Assassin's Creed. What would a hacker have?
Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm not sure what to make of Watch Dogs. It's interesting. It feels ambitious. It feels like, oh wow, holy crap, I can recruit anybody in the world. But really, you sort of get to a point where you feel like kind of people fall into sort of buckets. Like, okay, there's construction engineers, and they have access to heavy machinery and tools and drones sometimes. There's kind of hackery people. There's people that are like politicians or in the public eye, and they have access to like social things where they can get you information, that you can recruit a lawyer to your team and they can get your people out of jail quicker.
Yeah.
That you can recruit a doctor to your team and they will, the game has permadeath. So if somebody dies on your team, they die forever.
Oh, wow.
But if you have a doctor, you can get them to the doctor and there's a chance they might be able to save them. So they're, again, kind of interesting tools, but I'm still not sort of feeling like how it all kind of comes together.
Mm-hmm. That's impressive, actually. I didn't expect. I mean, I kind of have this vision of like the Ubisoft formula for open world games.
Sure.
That Watch Dogs, like every Watch Dogs game, has kind of felt like or fallen very neatly into. But some of the stuff in this actually sounds like they're taking some chances, like with the non-central protagonists and kind of a class system. Sounds like it's interesting. Although in the same...
I didn't think of it that way, but yeah, it is very much a class system, yeah.
In the same Ubisoft way, it also feels like they just don't really take it as far as they would need to make it something really stand out, where it's like, well, maybe they just have guns, or maybe he's got a killer yo-yo or whatever, because we can't make him completely non-violent.
Yeah, and you can't go so far as to actually be like mindful social commentary. Like, there's never going to be a message that comes out of a Watch Dogs
game. Oh no,
game
I would never. That
right.
wasn't on the table to begin with.
That sort of says anything about, and there is room in this for like police state politics. There's room in this for, has technology gone too far and do these corporations have too much power? There's room in this for even a Black Lives Matter kind of statement. And there's no way in hell Watch Dogs is going to approach any of that stuff. And if they do, it's going to be a joke and it's going to be offensive.
Yeah.
So it all just feels sort of ham-fisted and lightweight. So yeah, there's no part of me that sort of anticipates I'm going to learn anything by playing Watch Dogs Legion.
Oh, no. That would be the biggest shocker.
That would be the biggest shock of all. Exactly. Game of the year immediately. Put down the controller and feel like a changed man. But yeah, I don't know. I will hang out long enough for it to still sort of be kind of interesting and compelling. I'm getting real tired of driving my ass all around London, though.
Can you just swap to another character on the other side of the city? Can you take the tube in this? That was one of the questions I had about... I forget when I was talking about this with some people, but I was like, do you even need to drive a car? Can you just get on the underground?
You have to unlock the stations as fast travel locations. So eventually, yes, you can take the tube, but initially you're bound to driving the streets. And what I found lately is that once you recruit an engineer, you get these cargo drones, and they're like heavy duty drones that can lift heavy things.
Okay.
And you just bring one down into a parking lot near you and climb on top of it and fly all over the city.
What?
And it's so ridiculous, but and they're not very fast. But you don't have to wait at stoplights or use your magic phone to move.
Oh, it makes you like watch yourself flying on this drone the whole time.
Correct. Yeah.
Huh.
But you can fly in a straight line to your destination. You don't have to drive the winding streets of downtown London.
Interesting. You can't just get in one of those black cabs and they'll take you there.
It has autonomous vehicles. It has drone vehicles that you can get in, and if you have a destination on your minimap, it'll take you to that. But it drives very slowly and follows all the traffic laws and waits at every stoplight. And so therein, I have been playing quite a bit of Super Mario Brothers while I'm waiting for my little minicab to take me to my destination to run an errand for somebody who probably won't join my club anyways.
Well, just like taking a cab in real life.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. What can I do? What's interesting thing on my phone can I pretend to be interested in?
Man, you get into a cab in a Judgment or any of the Yakuza games and you're just there instantly.
That's how video game cabs should work. There should be a law, man. Yeah. I remember it was at GTA 4 where you had the choice of, you could sort of sit back and relax and enjoy the ride to your destination, or you could hit a button and just be instantly teleported to your destination. That should be in Watch Dogs.
I mean, yeah, it's nice that they had both options.
Yeah. I don't know London very well, so that makes it hard too. And it feels very sprawling. I don't have a sense of the neighborhoods or anything like that yet. Mm-hmm. So every now and then I'll drive past oh, there's the London Eye, or oh, hey, there's Big Ben. There's the two things in London that I know. But yeah, most part I'm I don't know where I am. Jack the Ripper lives around here somewhere, I think.
Of course. I'm sure there's some Jack the Ripper DLC they've got up their sleeve.
So I don't know. I mean, I sort of appreciate that this exists and that it appears that Ubisoft is trying to do something interesting and different with the Watch Dogs brand. But there have been enough kind of annoying and friction-full points of this that I'm not sure I'm ever going to see the end of it.
I wonder if it's too central to the concept of Watch Dogs that they would just always have to be fighting against some kind of totalitarian government every time. Because man, if you just made a game where you have all these weird hacking powers and set it in an interesting city somewhere around the world, I feel like there are so many other directions you could take that in, rather than just, oh, we had to stop Big Brother or whatever, and the only way to do it is just drones and machine guns.
Yeah. What it really... Yes, that would be interesting. It would be very cool to do something that was as sort of innocuous as a GTA or a Saints Row, but you're an Uber hacker.
Yeah, because I really like the San Francisco one, just kind of tooling around the city and seeing landmarks. But whenever it was just like, okay, go infiltrate this building, just crawl through an air duct or something, I'm like, oh man, this stuff again.
What a bummer. Yeah, it mostly makes me just wish that Eidos was still making the Deus Ex games, because those are this in a lot of ways. It is, kind of a fun hacking game. It is you trying to take down an oppressive technocratic regime with, an unlimited arsenal of one, really cool kind of techie weapons, and two, a bunch of, magic cell phones or whatever else you can sort of imagine having access to, including, a number of really cool like augmented body parts and stuff like that you can do in that game. So yeah, the Deus Ex games seem like the destination for Watch Dogs, and it's just unfortunate that they don't make those anymore.
Maybe we'll get like a futuristic one, Watch Dogs 4, he's all nano augmented or whatever. Yeah.
That'd be cool. Sign me up. So, yeah, Watch Dogs.
Watch Dogs continues to exist.
It is still a thing, yeah. I don't know. I guess I try to sort of recommend, would I recommend this to people? And I think, you probably have listened to me talk about this for the last 15 minutes and know whether or not this is interesting to you. I would say if you can get it for cheap, and I got it for a surprisingly cheap price, and I'm totally satisfied by it at that price, that if I had paid full price for this thing, I'd probably be a little angry.
I feel like if I knew London any better, I might be interested in this, because, I don't know, like, open world games I'm mostly interested in just for kind of the tourism aspect at this point. So
yeah,
I don't know if I ever played a video game set in London. Could be interesting just for that. But since I'm not really super acquainted with it, I don't know how much I'd appreciate it. And I certainly don't need to play another, like, just a Watch Dogs game. Sorry, Ubisoft.
And it's just a seemingly endless one, too. It just goes on for days and days and days. So, yeah. To get to your point, Watch Dogs.
At least, I'm guessing it doesn't have a Burning Man segment right in the middle, because that was a nightmare.
That was bizarre, yeah. In Watch Dogs 2, right? That was the second one.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Watch Dogs. That's about it. That's all I got. That's every video game I played.
It's quite a breadth of games there, all the way back to the original Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, exactly. I have a little Sackboy in there, too. I keep sort of swapping the disc for Watch Dogs and the disc for Sackboy out of my PS4, and I'm like, I'm getting whiplash from these games. This is totally two very different experiences. But yeah, whatever,
Can you dress up Sackboy like the Watch Dogs guy? Well, I guess there isn't one guy this time. That'd be tough.
No. Yeah. It's interesting that a lot of the people in Watch Dogs that you recruit are pretty mundane looking. Like a lot of the ones in Watch Dogs 2 were kind of flashy. Like they were absurd. Like punk rock hackers and had very sort of adventurous haircuts and flashy clothes and things like that. And everybody in Watch Dogs Legion is just a pedestrian, is just sort of a person going about their day. So if you recruit a doctor, he's got scrubs on, a construction worker, and he's got like the yellow little jacket on and stuff like that.
They're just going about their business in London.
Yeah, they're just kind of like going about their day to day when somebody from DedSec was harassing them. So there's not really, you can go to shops and buy flashy clothes to put on them, but it just feels kind of disingenuous. You can, one of the things you get from what's Ubisoft's little, like, club when you log into an Ubisoft game? And
Uplay or whatever.
Right? There you go. It's like you've got enough Uplay points to get Marcus's jacket from Watch Dogs 2, and any character can wear it in Watch Dogs 3.
You get the iconic cap.
You can get the cap as well with the little W logo on it. Yeah.
Good.
Yep, of course. So yeah, whoever I'm playing at any point in the game gets to wear Marcus's jacket.
Okay. Oh, well, that's how you know it's a Watch Dogs game still.
Just so I could pick him out of the crowd. Yeah, exactly.
He's dressed like the watchdog, so.
Excuse me, you must be the watchdog. Yeah.
They call me Watchdog.
But anyway, so that's it. We should wrap this thing up.
You're not playing the new Assassin's Creed? I wonder how Assassin's Creed's doing. I hear it's actually good.
People like it. Yeah, again, that's one of those things where I was sort of like, nah, I think I'm over it. But the more I hear about it, the more I kind of want to play it, maybe.
I feel like that's been the story for the last few Assassin's Creed games, where they're just like, oh, it's actually good this year. I'm like, well, wasn't it actually good last year? And people are just going to stop being surprised. It was not good
for a lot of years, so
That's true. They were digging themselves out of a very deep hole, so
yeah.
Still, there's some surprise every year when they pull it off.
But I have a friend on Twitter that is not like a hardcore gamer, but is just obsessed with the new Assassin's Creed game.
I thought you were going to say they're just obsessed with Vikings.
No, I don't think it comes from a place of being into Vikings, just sort of liking Assassin's Creed games. And yeah, she has been tweeting nonstop about how much she adores this game, and that I think she called it a series best. So I'm like, wow. And this is from like a hardcore Assassin's Creed person.
It's too bad I'm not into Vikings.
Yeah. Vikings are fine.
I don't know. I'm kind of lukewarm on Vikings. The last few, like, Vikings, they did the whole pirates thing. Not super into pirates. They really went hard on pirates for a while. That was just strange. Did not see that coming.
Black Flag, though. I've heard Black Flag is a good one.
Yeah, but it's all pirates.
More pirates, yeah. Yep.
The Greeks.
Yep.
The ancient Greeks, rather.
Egyptians.
Yeah, Egyptians. Egyptians kind of cool. That actually I want to check out, but I don't know. Didn't mean to get on a whole Assassin's Creed tangent, but I was just like, how are those guys doing? What's going on in the other half of the Ubisoft building?
Yeah, right, exactly. Somebody's got to be making Division 3. What other American city can we destroy?
Maybe San Francisco.
Maybe. All right. Well, we should say goodbye again. We like to mention that Extra Life is still going on. You can donate to that. What a weird right turn. Until December 31st. All of the money that you donate goes to this amazing charity that supports children's hospitals. For more info on that, go to VGHangover.com/extralife. Yeah. If you need any more video game hangover in your brain, you should follow us on Twitter. We're at twitter.com/VGHangover. Or, always head to the aforementioned website at VGHangover.com for show notes, links, and ways to get in touch with us. You can also find a link there to our Discord. And you should jump into the conversation with us.
Yeah. Tell us your favorite, I don't know, tell us your favorite Assassin's Creed game. Tell us your favorite city where you would most like the new Watch Dogs game to take place.
What city do you wish you had unlimited magical cell phone access to?
Yeah, right. I wish that was just in my city. Just go and get that car in front of me out of my way.
Yes, I was tired of sitting at these stoplights. Yeah, exactly.
No, just kidding. I never go outside.
Please subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts. And perhaps most importantly, just tell your friends about us.
Yeah. Tell your friend about your favorite Assassin's Creed city. I don't know. How long can we keep this going?
I don't know. I think I'm running out of stuff. Last but not least, the Drunktacular is coming. Go to VGHangover.com to find out how you can get involved. And make sure you tune in on Twitch on Saturday, December 12th for a live, taping? Are we calling it a taping? A live broadcast of a VGH.
For a live thing.
Yep.
Live from your favorite Watch Dogs city. I don't know.
Live from my heavily defended bunker here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Oh, man. Thanks again to Lemonectric this week for our intro and outro music. Please head on over to lemonectric.bandcamp.com and listen to more of his stuff.
Yeah. All right, we'll be back next week. Until then, this is Randy Dickinson.
This is DJ Ross.
Thanks for listening to Video Game Hangover. Goodbye.
Good night.
See ya.